In today's show, we discuss, can this thing fix dating apps?
And now, the TNT Talk Show, daring to go where other podcasts fear to tread.
Hello, I'm Tony Fasulo, and I share the stage with my esteemed friend and colleague, Taya Boya. Taya, hello, my friend, once again. I hope you keep it safe and well. And say hi to our audience.
Honestly, man, you are a rat, man, I swear. Anyway, despite Tony obviously trying to get me to stop saying hello to the audience, which I'm going to do if he keeps on like this. Hello, audience. Thank you for joining us. And I'd like to say a
Hooray!
special F off, Tony. just naff off, okay? I'd like
He
to say a
loves me
special.
really, folks, honest.
I want to say hello to a listener or listeners in Loveland, Colorado. So today's fact is going to marry both the location that I mentioned, which is Loveland, Colorado, and the fact is that it is the nation of America's cultural center for outside sculptures, with over 500 sculptures on show in public. And
Wow.
there is an annual gathering of the nation's artists, sculptors who gather at Loveland, and they try to outdo each other. So if you're ever interested, I mean, and if you go online and you have a look at their sculptures, they're very whimsical. They're quite just pop up everywhere, and I found them. Yeah, they're quirky, and I think they make put a little smile on your face, and it's must be quite interesting.
Wow. That's a place to earmark for visit because
Mm,
that sounds quite intriguing.
yes,
Okay, that's a
yes.
nice one. Welcome, listener in Colorado,
Like
wherever you are.
yeah,
Listener,
Loveland,
we're
Colorado.
counting them out individually when you join in obscure places. I like this little segment, so well done, Tyre. Right, on with today's show. Now, this is actually a follow-on, effectively, of one we did a few weeks back about dating apps. And my esteemed friend and colleague Tayo has come up with a fix. So
Hmm.
basically, what he's proposing is, can this fix remedy dating apps? But before we touch on that, I think we should go on and recap why we think dating apps are a problem to begin with, because you had a bit of a gripe about them, didn't you?
Did I?
Yeah.
I'm an old man. I don't remember anything. Just remind me, what was my gripe?
Well, you were saying initially that our dating apps destroy society. Do you
Women, I
remember?
said, destroy society. No,
No, but
dating
you were
apps.
saying the dating apps were.
Ah, okay. So it's a roundabout. Right, right. It's split back in there. It is a roundabout. No. Roundabout analysis, not analysis. What I think goes like this. So it starts off with modern dating apps. Now, dating apps allow a certain segment of society, the females, to land themselves the attention of men that back in the old days they probably wouldn't have. So they, I don't know if you've heard the statistic that 80% of women, 80% of women are all attracted to the same 10, 20% of men. Have you heard
I
that?
have heard that
Yeah.
statistic.
In fact, it's
Burrito, anyway.
apparently it's gotten worse. Apparently it's 90% of women are attracted to 10% of men.
Is it? I mean, sorry to jump in.
No, no, sorry.
Is it got anything to do with the fact that you're shopping for a partner now? That's in essence what's happening with an app, because prior to that, you didn't have this swiping business where you literally could swipe, I don't know how many people you could swipe past, and literally pick a partner just based on looks like you would a piece of clothing.
Hmm.
You'd go through the aisle, you pick the one you like and try it on, or you don't like it, okay, go back and pick another one. And so that's commoditized, I suppose. Is that a word?
Yes, it's a
Commoditization? Is
lovely
that a
word
word?
actually.
So that's done that with picking a partner.
Hmm.
So you're right, in the past, you only had your sphere of influence, who you met in the street, who you met at work, who you met in a social gathering. But now, because of the advent of dating apps, your scope is much greater. You can meet people in the whole country if you chose, or even abroad using the dating app. So you're now you're now picking from a bigger candy store, if you know what I mean. And
Yes.
you're gonna go for the nice ones on the top shelf, or that you would never normally have access to, I suppose.
Well, yes. I mean, you're wrong, but it
Oh,
was a good effort. It was a good effort. So, have you heard of this? I guess it is a concept. I suppose so. What would you call it? Have you heard of something called hypergamy?
I have.
Hypergamy
Do you want to
is
explain that to our
well,
audience?
hypergamy. Hyper is what does hyper mean? Upper, if you like, upward trending. In this particular case, I'm going to define it. I'm going to define it. A lot of linguists would go, "That's not what it means." Shut up. I'm going to define it as being upward trending, and gamy is marriage. The trend to get married to somebody of a higher status than yourself. And hypergamy is a well established aspect of feminine nature all over the planet, not just modern Western women, but all over the world. It's natural for a woman.
Before the internet, this been
Yeah,
going on for years.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is going over donkeys. Well, Cinderella wants to marry Prince. Cinderella wanted
Want to marry a
to
prince? Yeah.
a prince. So there's no comparable story of someone wanting to marry down, actually wanting to marry down. That is to say, a princess who fell in love with a woodcutter. You notice that never happens in
Well, that's not true. I have to jump in there. Have
well, go
you
on.
not heard of Princess Bride?
I've heard of it. I watched it.
The film, you've watched it. There you go. So that's an example of that
She
same
waited. She
thing.
waited until Gunnar made a man of himself. Do you
Yeah.
remember?
Yeah, I do.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the point. When he came back, he had to go and make a man of himself. Cinderella didn't have to go off and earn university degrees or anything. Do you
No,
see?
that's very true.
So,
Yes.
So the hypergamy is at the root of the problem when it comes to dating apps because it means that women on dating apps are always looking to trade up. Now, in the old days, they were hypergamous. It wasn't as if our mothers and grandmothers and great grandmothers weren't hypergamous. They were because it's female nature, but their ability to exercise their hypergamy was limited. So, who did you have to choose from in the village? Well, the hottest girl or woman got the hottest guy, and then the next hottest woman got the next hottest guy, and so on and so forth. And pretty soon, everybody sort of understood what they could expect and what they couldn't expect. So, the what modern people, the Gen Zs and all people like that, millennials, what they call the mids. Do you know? Have you heard that
No, I
expression?
haven't heard that term. No.
Well, if I wasn't a tutor, I wouldn't know anything about this. But but instead of calling somebody plain nowadays, you call them mid. For middling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, first of all you think, oh, but later on, once it catches in your mouth catches onto it, it's quite fun. Oh man, she's mid.
So what's the terminology for someone who's the top of the tree?
Leng,
Oh, what?
Leng, Leng. I don't know what it
L-E-N-G,
means, by the way.
Leng.
They just told me, oh, she's Leng. I don't
Okay.
know where it came from. I haven't bothered to look it up.
Interesting.
Yeah, so you got those who are Leng, you got those who are mid, right?
Okay.
So the reason I spoke about it is that so what happens is that the mid in the village isn't trying to marry the earl or the son or the earl's son more likely. She's not trying to marry the earl's son. She knows she's mid. What happens when you have a dating app though, and the mids go out with the legs,
Yeah,
but
but
the
they don't,
mids,
do they?
well,
Because
they do.
the
The
lengs, if you're
hmm
going to use that terminology, well, we're down on the street with the kids now.
Oh yeah, we're down, man. We're whole fogies are
If it
down.
if they're using that terminology,
Mhm.
then surely they won't, well, they wouldn't normally associate with, as you've put it, mids. They'll only go for equal lengs. That term,
Yeah,
I can't get
but
that term.
eventually they've actually run through all of them.
Oh, but you're saying now that it's not this dating app, it's actually promiscuity
Yes,
as a whole.
they
Well,
have
that's
an
different.
opportunity. They have an opportunity to run through three, four women every night if they want to. These are the top 10%. This doesn't happen to everybody. 90% of the men are sitting around not getting any hits whatsoever. Well, these top 10 percenters, they're getting everything they can handle, and consequently, they treat women like dirt.
Not with the respect they deserve. They're just
No, well, I
treating
don't know
them
about deserve, but not with any
disrespectfully.
respect. And
Yeah.
also, strangely, that for women looks like confidence and is even more attractive. So this, all of
So
them,
you're saying this is it's actually, what's the word I'm looking for? Perpetrating a trend? It's created a trend
it
that
has
wouldn't
created
have
already.
been there before.
Would not have been there before, where mids think that they are worth the time of length. Do you see?
Yes,
So they
I
think they're
see.
worth the time of length, and they look down on other on men who are mid, because they think that hey, I've been out with three. Now this is American culture and everything, which is one I always refer to. I don't know why, but they're going out with basketballers, athletes, people who make millions, and they're tall and they're handsome and they're strapped because they're athletes, the peak of their human physical health and all that sort of thing, and they get treated to a few nights of going to the best restaurants and whatever and everything being treated. People get flown out. People get flown overseas for a weekend. A mate going to I don't know Saint Tropez.
But
You
they're
know,
going to be used and abused because surely,
yes, but they don't
but
think
then,
that because they're hopeful that hey, this is me. Maybe that happened to all the other women, but I'm different. He's really into me, and then he drops her, and then she gets upset, and then somebody else picks her up, and she says, that guy was an idiot. Look at who's after me now. And then she does
but
that for.
surely, at some point they will realize that they're not keeping these so-called top tier guys and start to question whether they're being too easy.
This is where you run into problems, Tony. I'm sorry. I'm not going to berate you or anything, but I'm going to point out that your problem is that you think like a man.
Okay.
There's no point
Because
coming at
that's
this.
pretty
There's no
illogical,
point.
seeing as I
There's no
am
point
one.
coming. There's no point coming at this logically. That's thinking. You have to use all this man talk, a man thing. How's that going to help? We're talking about women now. They don't take any responsibility for themselves. So if they go out with 8 guys in 8 years, no, it wouldn't be like that. Even be more. If they go out, I think this body count now is, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 is quite routine. There was one girl who
What?
did 150 by the time she was 19. But
That
never put that.
cannot be the average. That must
No, no,
be
I'm not saying
edge
just the average. I'm saying that
cases.
I said there was one girl, so
Oh, I see.
she's a bit outstanding. 'Cause, wow, you
That's
know.
ridiculous.
But the guy with all these men, it's not them. So have you heard all men should die? This is the
What?
anger that, yeah, this is what women are saying. All men should die because they've been hurt. Well, according to them, they've been hurt. They've been used and abused and dropped. But it's never their fault. They don't take responsibility for anything. They don't sit like you just did. And I think, do you know what? The common denominator is me. It must be me. No, the common denominator for them is the men. So they go, it's
So
the
they're
men.
basically saying all these top tier men's are horrible. All
They're
they do is
horrible.
use and abuse. But they've
Exactly.
put themselves in that position to
What's
be
that got to
used
do
and
with
abused.
anything? They
At the
don't.
at the end of the day, at the end of the day, every female has the right not to give her body to a bloke. Okay? They can just say no. Now they can play in these games. They don't have to give it up, so to speak. They don't. They can just date. In fact, most guys would respect women more if that's what they did.
Well, now you're
Now,
just being sexist. No, I'm
no,
telling you, this I watch these women's videos all the time. You've just been sexist. If it's okay for a man, why shouldn't it be okay for a woman? What's your problem? You're just a patriarchal sexist.
I'm not saying it's good for a man. I've not once said that. Those are words you're now putting into my mouth.
Okay,
I'm
well,
just saying,
if the
from
men
women's
you,
point of view,
mhm.
clearly this is not happening. It's not working as they'd expected. So maybe don't put out.
Oh, that's a very
Yeah?
mature attitude. But here's the thing. Now you said I put words in your mouth. So now there's a guy who's running around and he's sleeping with all these women. Do you think there's anything wrong with that?
I disagree with that as well. He's
Oh, okay. Well,
abusing women.
I actually no, because you see, here's the thing. Charlize Theron was recently on the podcast, and anybody can find the podcast. It's very easy.
Who is
It's
this?
gone
Sorry?
viral. Charlize Theron,
Oh, the South African actress.
former, I think. I think she's
Well,
counts
she's
herself
still
as
acting, is
American
she
now.
not? Yeah.
No, no, she counts herself as American now. I think.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if she still thinks she's South African. Anyway, she was on the podcast, yeah, about a month ago, let's say, okay? And it went viral for a while, where she was bragging that she's 50 and she was able to sleep with a 26-year-old man.
Okay.
And all of us piled in on the comment section and said, no, lady, anybody can sleep with a 26-year-old man because the guy's horny. I mean, unless you look like the back end of a horse, you're giving him some, he's gonna get some.
I think that's a bit too much.
Is wow.
No, 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 no,
No,
no.
what? So
No.
when you were 26, if some woman came up to you, especially what I mean, she's 50, but it's not as if she looks like the back end of a horse for God's sakes. She's 50 and she's Charlize Theron. If you were when you were 26, I don't know Raquel Welch back in our day,
Yeah, but that's
okay?
because you know that they're a star and there's
Oh,
something drawn to a star. And the same with
someone who
some of the
didn't even look like,
girls.
look, excuse me, I don't know about you. Maybe you just had hair back then and
I did have hair. I did. I was
maybe
proud
you
of
were
my
the
hair.
main man. But okay, well, when I was 26, I was living in Nigeria, okay? And it's not that easy to get a leg over, pal. Okay? So if some woman is gonna come and say, hello, how's your father, sort of thing, it's like, yeah, let's do this thing because it's a gift. All right, so you don't look a gift horse in the mouth. You just climb on top, and you're very grateful for what you can get because it's not
Oh,
that easy to get. So I think 26-year-olds today are in the same situation because, like I said, only a few of them are getting the action. Everybody else is running dry, man. So Charlize Theron, we all piled in on her and said, you have not done anything. For any woman nowadays, like we said, 80% of so 90% of them go out with 10% of the guys. But if they want to, they can just nab just about anybody. If it's just for Rumpty or Rumpty, that's what it's called, isn't it? If it's just for a roll in the hay, if it's just for Rumpty, you can nab a guy.
well, that's absolutely true because let's be honest, women can pull a guy far easier than a
Exactly.
guy pull a woman. I get that.
They
But
call it like this. We say women are the gatekeepers of sex. They are. They, like you said, they have a right to say no. And if they say no, it's no.
yeah.
Okay? So women gatekeep sex. That's their thing. Here's what we were
So
trying to
why are
explain
they
to
choosing not to keep the keys and then
feminists told them that they could behave just like men and there'll be no consequences. It's fundamental part of feminist ideology that anything a man can do, any way a man can behave, if it's men can do it, then women can do it too. And they're finding out the hard way. That's a load of bollocks. They're finding out the hard way.
maybe I mean, well, in a lot of things, yes, but clearly there's some things no. And this is one of those areas, I believe, this is my opinion, that it's not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same because when when you get to the point where start not being able to land a date with that Lang guy because gravity has taken over and you don't look the way you used to look when you're 22, you're now 32, and you can't get a date. That's when they start sort of waking up and making these videos about, as the, the expression is, where have all the good men gone? Well, all the good men got
Right. So
married
they
years and
do get
years.
that realization at some point when they go, right,
Not that it
maybe
was their
I.
fault, but is that it's time to settle down. They're 32, their eggs, they realize, die every month, and they're losing it and never replaced. Their what do they call this body clock? The body clock kicks in, what is it called? The baby fever, whatever it's called. And then, oh my God, I've got to settle down. Now here's the problem. First of all the 32-year-old men, they're not interested in 32-year-old has-been women. We call it hitting the wall. Those women have hit the wall. Nobody's interested. And you've been around, man. Your body count is off the freaking charts. No one wants to get involved in that.
Yeah,
So
but a
32
man
year
wouldn't know that unless she volunteered that
well,
to.
basically, if she's single when she's 32, she's been around I mean, given it from the dating market out there, it's tough, Tony. If you're not,
I'm not
no,
so sure. I'm not because let's be honest,
well, you're
right?
an
Let's be
expert in this thing.
honest.
You've been watching it
Let's be honest.
like I have.
A woman, a woman doesn't have to tell her fella, whoever she meets, all her past. Likewise, a man doesn't have to tell everything to their female partner of their past. Their past is their past. As long as it's not something that can come back and haunt them, it's got no relevance to them. Because if they did not know that person before that point in time that they've met, it's not really relevant. So it should be from that moment onwards. Do they like one another? Are they compatible? Have they got the qualities that they enjoy one another? Then they move on from that point. So I'm not so sure that obviously some men would be a bit disturbed perhaps if they discovered that their partner had hundreds of former partners. I
Who's as
get
loose as a
that,
goose.
but in reality, should it matter?
I'm really surprised to hear you say that because I don't think it was that long ago when did I not send you a link or did we just talk about it? I thought I sent you a link where they show that the number of bodies that a woman needs in order to lose the ability to pair bond is five. Five. I thought we had that conversation.
I think we may have done that
Yeah.
conversation off
Did,
air,
did,
but I did challenge you on it. I wanted more details
did I
about.
not send you the link or anything?
No, 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 no. We just
Okay.
briefly touched on it. So if you
So
can provide it, let's add it to the blurb on this show because
yeah.
that would be relevant. But yeah,
So
if
what?
there's
So
evidence to show
you
that, why is that not being spoken about?
well, it has been spoken about, but it's called misogynist because a man. This is what I'm pretty sure we spoke about this. A man can sleep with dozens of women. It doesn't make a difference. When he eventually falls in love, he'll fall in love. That's doesn't make it pair bonding thing. It's not a cycle. It's not an emotional thing. When you're with the woman that you're not really in love with, there is no emotion involved. It's strictly for pleasure. But women apparently they've got this thing in their head where it is an emotional business as well as a physical one. And the disappointment that comes afterwards when that relationship comes to an end has got to leaves a permanent scar. And the continuous scarring makes that person less and less able to feel anything
I,
emotionally.
I'm I would like to see the figures
It's
behind
not
that.
really a question of seeing the figures, Tony. This is sometimes what it is just a question of getting out of your little silo and just watching videos on TikTok made by
Like
women
like
themselves.
get
The
your
important thing,
education from TikTok.
well, because I'm getting my education from women, not from men.
No,
You
I
and I, we're
understand
both
that,
we're
but
both men
remember,
talking, and I'm not
okay.
talking about. We're not talking about one woman, two, three, four, literally hundreds,
It,
thousands.
it's not the case though.
What is
Think
not the
about it
case?
logically, right?
Sorry, what's not the case?
How many people
Hmm.
who produce content online that's any meaningful content are doing it to just bare their soul? But the majority are not creators of content, they're the consumers of content. So the vast majority of people are watching these people on TikTok perform. That's what they're doing. They're performing. Now, if they have a certain viewpoint, for every video that is on TikTok, you've probably got 100 people watching it. They don't create their own, they're just watchers. Now, do all the majority, which is the 100, all agree with the TikTok who says, oh, yeah, this is what life's about? No, I dare say they don't. I think the people on TikTok who are producing the content are in a minority. So you cannot just assume because they're creating content, spouting off all this stuff, makes the vast majority of women in the same boat. No, I disagree. I think there has to be proper information gathered by proper consensus that those points are true or not. And I don't believe it.
That's fair enough. So anyway, back in the real world, what I was trying to say is a body count of five or more does have a terrible effect on women. And by the time you get to, here we go. All right, so give me a second and I'll get you some links.
So
So,
you found this, you found the actual
yeah,
reference.
it's
Okay.
not controversial, man. Okay, so
We still have to get
think,
on the topic of the fix,
well,
but yeah,
no, I'm
okay.
building up to it. I'm
Okay.
because this is what my solution. You see,
Ah, okay.
you should be able to guess what my solution is already from our
I
discussion thus
can
far.
I can get this I can get the fix in a way,
Yeah.
but whether it's something we can actually put in place. But go on.
So, well, it's up to the anyway. So, if the problem is that women are matching men who would never think to settle down with them because of the difference is in motivations. The woman
Mid and a high tier.
mid and Lang. Lang doesn't want to come down to the mid because it doesn't have to. I mean, you fall in love with who you fall in love with. Now, if lightning strikes and for some weird reason, this guy just happens to fall in love with this woman, he'll marry because men can marry down easily. We're not bothered. In
But
fact,
you see, this is a very, sorry to interrupt here,
mm,
but this is a very superficial way of describing the sexes because the the visual side of it is
mm,
only one factor. People don't fall in love just for the looks. That's the first thing that attracts you to somebody, but it's what the substance is underneath. So you could have a mid or even someone low who could have, I don't know, some of the best qualities on the planet.
exactly.
So it's got
That's what I
nothing to
said. So
do
for
with
some,
it.
yeah, but I said it for some reason. He wants this particular woman, and he falls in love with her. He doesn't care. He doesn't mind. He will do so happily, and his friends are not going to be like, "Oh, what? She works at I don't know Waitrose or something." Well, no one's going to say that. I mean, what's his name? Bill Gates married his secretary. It's like that. I don't think anybody got on his bottom over it. It's fine. It's not a problem.
Like Matt Damon, been married to his wife for 20 years, over
Uh-huh.
20 years. He
Uh-huh.
met her in a coffee shop.
Yeah.
She was working behind the bar. He
There
came
you go.
running past because he was being chased by fans, and he asked her, "Please, please, can I hide in here?" And she hid him under the counter.
For
And
herself.
well, she did. She married him in the end. They've been married 20 years. So these stories do happen. So it's got nothing to do with the looks. The looks draws you to the person, but it's all the substance afterwards that keeps you there. When I was young and I did have hair, I dated a lot of top tier ladies. I did.
Mhm.
But I was looking more for substance.
Yeah.
You do. You look for the personality. You look whether you can have a conversation. You look for other qualities in the person. And looks is just the first and it's not the most important. Like I said, it just draws you there initially, but the other qualities is what keep you there.
Yeah. Well, look, I totally agree. You go out with a pretty woman or a couple of pretty women, you very you very soon find that, in generally speaking, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. To
Your
be honest.
terminology. You've been listening to the kids too much now.
That's a very old one, by the way.
Oh, is it?
But
I've not
yeah,
heard that
yeah,
one.
it's very old. Yeah, but no. So the point is, the point is this: imagine a situation where there is a team on a dating app platform whose job it is to objectively analyze, assess, and assign a value on a scale of 1 to 10 of the person's physical attractiveness. Not sorry, sexual market value. That's better than physical attract. Sexual market
Sexual
value.
market value. How do you even do that? How
Well,
what
how
you
good
can
how good looking is this person? How much money have they got? How do they dress? How do they look? So women, for example, women on the team would go over a bunch of guys and go, oh yeah, he's a 10. No, this one is mid. Oh, this one is sub
But
mid.
beauty is in the eye of the
Well,
beholder.
so this people will be looking at everything. It's not a question of just the eye of the beholder. We know that this has happened to me. I've told this
You
story
need
maybe
to. I can
three
hardly
times.
hear you again now. You need to put that close. That's it.
No, is it okay?
Yeah, cool.
Sorry. So I've told this story about three times so far in the course of our 5 years of doing the TNT talk show, and I'm going to tell it one more time.
Okay.
But before I say that, I would say that what I'm going to tell the story of is that this is the equivalent of a woman seeing a guy and thinking he's mid, and then seeing him get into his Ferrari, and then thinking, wow, he actually is quite lame. Now, now, something similar happened to me. So I was
Okay.
working in Stoke-on-Trent. I don't think I want to mention this time. I think I did it last time, and I thought afterwards
No, I don't think I've heard this before.
I was working in Stoke-on-Trent. I was working for a betting, if that's not giving it away. I was working for a company
Yes.
that, yes, that does business, you know, make a lot of money, makes a lot of money, Stoke-on-Trent. And I was there as a programmer, slaving away as you do, boring job. And there was this woman walking around, and she was very small, slight, frail, thin, and mid would be bigging her up, to be honest. Okay, she wasn't even mid. All right,
Okay.
I was just walking around. I was thinking, and
Just
eventually, she was talking
purely
to
on
people.
looks alone.
Yeah, that
Yep.
looks alone.
Okay.
And I was saying, one day I just asked, "Sir, exactly who is that woman?" She's just walking around and she's talking to her. She was friendly,
Hmm.
very friendly, confident, speaking to people, stopping, hey, and just like, how are you, and blah, 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 having good conversations with people, speaking to the managers and the supervisors, not to, low schmucks like me, but what the hell, right? And, uh, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry. And the, oh, I know what happened. And so she was walking around, and I asked someone sitting next to me one day, who is that? And they're like, oh, don't you know that? Don't you know her? Oh, she's blah blah blah's daughter. She's his
Okay.
daughter. She's got something like 150, 300 million in the bank.
Okay.
I was like, yeah, okay, that's interesting. Now,
Well, she's
over the
attractive now.
over the course of the next couple of weeks, I found myself going from she's not actually that bad to you know what? I think she's quite lame. I'm saying that and we're laughing, but I watched myself morph because that 300 million in the bank, then that made her quite pretty. Okay. And I can, and that's why I don't berate women for being that way. It happened to me, with my, facts and evidence, man. I remember what I used to think about her, and I look at her now, just thinking, yeah, I definitely would.
Oh, so
Okay.
you were seduced effectively by the
Rumors. I mean,
discovery
she
that
never
she was
spent a penny
wealthy.
on me. Just the rumors of her.
Yeah.
Just like, but everybody was like, yeah, she's got 300, 450 to 300 million in the bank. This is worth sort of
Did you
considering, man.
did you know that confidence is one of the most attractive
Yeah, yeah,
traits.
yeah, man. We say it all the
So
time.
it depends on, it didn't matter the looks per se, although they have some bearing, of course, but confidence. And anyone, whatever level they're at, can build confidence. Not arrogance, but confidence. So, this idea that the the dating apps have got this, because at the minute, let's be honest, the dating apps, the ones that get all the headlines are the ones that purely focus on looks. And we've already touched on it. It makes picking a partner a commodity. That's all it's doing because
Hmm.
it's relying on photos. And that's not a way you can make anybody look good in a photo. Dear me, I can make myself look like Brad Pitt in some photos without the hair. So photos alone in dating apps are terrible because what's the term? There's a term for trying to catfishing. There you go, remembered it. Right,
Mm.
that's where you portray yourself in a manner that you literally don't look like your profile picture
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so that you're trying to attract people based on your looks, but not on your true personality and what you genuinely look like. So, photos alone are terrible. So, if you're going to fix dating apps, and I'm going to put my first suggestion in before you put yours in, perhaps,
Hmm. Hmm.
is that everyone has to put a video up of themselves that's not AI generated. That
The
way,
Chinese do that already, and the Chinese phones and apps, the Chinese people, well, the men specifically, are complaining that in China, your phone automatically puts filters on your face. It's automatic. I'm not even sure if you can switch it off, but it's automatic. So
oh, interesting.
yeah, they make you look the best you can, and they think it's what everybody wants, and it's just built into the fabric of the phone. And then men
But
are saying
then,
that,
but
yeah,
then
we
that
don't know what the
levels the
hell
playing
anybody.
field, though.
Well, they're saying we don't know what the hell anybody looks like, and then we get there, and then they look like that, and then eventually that happens to you often enough, you just become hyper cynical, and you don't want to be invested in anything.
Okay, that's interesting. I
Yeah.
wasn't aware that that's something that's built into the phone because clearly, yeah, that's not authentic, is it? You're now putting a you're
It's
putting a
not
picture up
authentic
or a
at all.
video up and it's
Yeah.
already filtered you. But there has to be something along those lines because a video is is more real. I know AI and all the rest of it. I get that. But if you have a photo, you of a video talking a certain way, that gives more credence to you as an individual and also perhaps talk about what you like and dislike. I know you've said that there's some posts that you've shared of women who've put their requirement
Ah!
and you've shared that with me. It's a shame. I don't know whether you've got any, but we could share it with our audience in the blurb here, where they are upfront what they want. Now, I mean, some of the it looks like demands. I get it that you want to have an expectation of your partner, but some of the things are completely.
She's 40 years old, childless, she's broke. Not even child, sometimes she's 40 years old, 6 kids from 6 different men. She's broke. She wants a millionaire who must have a car that is big enough for her. This is one I just watched recently. Big enough for her and her kids, and a house that's big enough for her kid. And she gave her this long list. I mean, we're just like, look, lady, man, you're not even delusional, man. You just need
That is totally
psychological help.
delusional. It's
No,
delusional.
you need help.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you talking about? Anyway, so listen, we had a show when we brought on a guest, a female guest, and she said she found her husband or spouse or boyfriend, whatever, through a dating app, and she hadn't put a photo of herself. Remember her?
Oh yes, yes, I do.
She
Yeah.
hadn't put a photo of herself on the app, and she only matched people who didn't put men who didn't put photos of themselves on the app.
That's right.
Do you remember? And
Yes, I
that's
do.
how she found her.
Her partner, yeah.
No, I don't like
Which
the
is
partner.
interesting.
The
It's her
partner
husband
is.
now. They got married, yes.
I don't even like it. The partner is a business person,
Okay.
man.
Their spouse,
Yeah, yeah, spouse, lover, whatever. Let's use proper
partner. They're
words.
married. They're married.
Yeah. So
Not
that's
partnered,
and
I guess
that's
so.
that's one way to do things, but it's a bit harsh if you travel 300 kilometers, 300 miles, whatever it is, and then you get there, and then it's just like, yeah, I shouldn't have bothered. So
No,
I don't like
but
that kind of attitude.
I think,
What I
can I
think
just
is,
say, I wanted to say her thing works, and I think that that would be some requirement where the looks are removed. So you actually have to discover the person first, and then the looks are revealed after a set period. So, for instance, let's say
that's not a
all,
bad idea, actually.
yeah, all the people on the dating app are
Hmm.
not allowed a profile. And so you've got no profile picture, no video, nothing. So people have to express themselves based on the way they talk. People can hear one another.
Hmm.
Okay, so you can speak to other people as that's your profile, but you can't see them. So you can build relationships with people. Yeah, well, I like the sound of them. They seem nice. They've got the same values as me.
There's a
They seem
TV
to have
show
the
like
same.
that.
There is a TV show like that, isn't there?
But the
The
fun part of that TV show
is the
is to see
reveal.
the look of utter horror and disappointment on the face of the person who comes up from behind the curtain and everyone's, oh God,
But the point
oh
is,
Jesus, no,
the point
please.
is, what I would prefer is
Uh,
that there's some way of not rating the other person because that's a bit crude. We don't want to get down to those points. But you you can rate them or give them a star or something for personality. They were chatty, they were
mm,
sociable, we got on, we had a laugh. So they can have little stars if they meet certain criteria. So for instance, did you have a laugh with them? Did you feel that you got on? Or all these sorts of things. And then reveal what they look like.
hmm. Yeah.
Because
Well,
if
like I said,
anything else, if even if you don't end up being partners, you've made a friend. So
we used to say we ended up getting lovers and things, and now I always say partners. Listen, all I'm saying is we've seen a similar thing with that particular show. I don't remember what the show is called. I didn't really watch that often,
was
but
it
my
blind
favorite,
date?
okay, maybe, but
Maybe
my
that's a
favorite
UK
part,
thing, blind date. Yeah, possibly.
my favorite part was the reveal, and obviously the worse the reveal went, the funnier I found it. I, so there is something to be said for what you're saying, but I don't think we need to go that far. I
Okay.
think everybody can have pictures and everything, and maybe should have pictures, just so we know what we like. And if there's no way I'm going to like you, why are we wasting each other's time? It's not fun. I say there should be a team that assigns a sexual market value from 1 to 10 for all the people on the app, and you can only see those behind you or one above you. That's it. So if your sexual market value is 5 and you're a mid, you can see a 6 and 5s and everybody behind you, but you can't see 7s, 8s, 9s, and 10s. So you can't all women all end up chasing the same 10% of guys. It's not possible.
I mean, it's an interesting idea, but how would you rely on attractiveness? Because that's all that is. You're now scaling someone's attractiveness on who they are permitted to go out with. Now, what if you had one particular person's point of view, he liked, I don't know, he liked Asian girls, say,
Mm-hmm.
and there was white Caucasian girls on there, but he
Mm-hmm.
didn't like them because he preferred Asian girls.
It's in the
So
wrong
he's going
app.
to score them low. Do you see what I mean?
What do you mean he's going
It's
to score them low?
yeah,
Oh, you
he's
mean the guy on the team?
the guy on the team, yeah.
All right, so you're not going to have 2 or 3 guys on the team. You just need a large team. Or you can hand it off to AI to sort it out with historical data, which I'm sure people like Tinder and all this have got a lot of historical data. So you could do that. You could do questionnaires. You could do all sorts of things. I mean, that's not a problem. You could sort that out as near as objectively as possible, which stripping out the subjective part of it. You can assign a point system. If he's 6 foot tall, it's like this. If he's short, it's like that. If he's rich, it's like this. So you just point system, assign the points, and there you are. Bam, bada boom, bada bing. Same with the women. The thing is, over a period of time, I think it will have a massive, massive impact on society. Because women will be, it's more like the old days when women got to meet people that they matched with naturally and then settled down with and then got married and had kids and had a happy life.
Okay, let me throw a slight spanner in the
Go
works in
on.
that. Okay. Now, women can change their look completely with makeup.
Hmm.
You can have certain women who are probably mids without makeup. And in fact, there's examples of supermodels, supermodels
Mm.
in the same category. When you
Mm.
take off their makeup,
Hmm.
you wouldn't even notice them in the street. But when they have professionally applied makeup,
Mm.
they look
Like
$1 million.
supermodels.
And there are even companies that do this, like a pampering session for
Mm.
a lot of women to make them look and feel good about themselves and also get photos of them, which is great. But is that a moment in time, or is that the real person? Do you see what I mean?
It is a
Yes,
moment in time without a doubt, but
but
even
but
natural
then do you
beauty is a moment
scale
in time.
them? Do you scale them there, or do you insist that to have a profile on this dating app, you must be without makeup and then one with makeup, so they can give them two scores,
Probably just
perhaps?
when you join, just need to like for photographs. So when you join them, you just need to send them a photograph, which doesn't make it onto the website. But to join, they need to see you without your makeup on, because that's how they're going to assess you.
Well, you're gonna have to how that's a very costly way of getting people to enroll, making people
It's,
feel a
I
little bit.
think I think that it would actually become extremely popular because women will start landing people with whom they match and actually going on to have fruitful relationships. They will fight it in the beginning, but over a period of time, its own success will drive it, and then the others will fall in line because they're not having a great time. Women are saying they're not having a great time now on Tinder and all these dating apps. The dating apps are actually losing a lot of money now. Everybody's fed up. It's not working for the men. It's not working for the women. They need a new paradigm, and this is what I'm offering them. It's
There
just
you
not
go. It's a
working.
business opportunity then.
Well, I was thinking about it actually. Yeah, but as a MGTOW, I actually don't want it to work. So
Oh, come on.
no, seriously, I don't want it to work. I think we just need to pull the whole thing down and start over again. And the best way to pull it down, just let it just go to hell in a handbasket.
But
Because that's
if
when the
that's
strong
if
man will
that's what's
reemerge.
naturally happening, I mean, I think there's a place for dating apps, and there clearly is refinement. It's still, I mean, how can we say? Is it still a fledgling business? It's not that mature. It's been around a few years, but it's
Mm.
only the last few years it's matured in a bit better, where you can have proper quality pictures, videos, that sort of thing. And there are some paid for services that do work. I think most people are griping over the lower end products where they might be free or just a small amount of money. You then get tossed into a platform that really doesn't do a lot of vetting. There's a lot of people on it. A lot of them are there maybe just for players. They're not that serious. And that's what you get when you've got the lower end of the marketplace. But if you genuinely want to spend a bit of money, there are far better quality products out there that will allow you to meet people, but there's going to be an investment there because they will vet the other clients on the site to ensure it's not filled with bots, for instance. You've got proper people with proper profiles, and the clientele on there are a better quality of clientele all round. It doesn't matter
Mm.
what position you are on the scale. I mean, see that you've said people have to gauge you and give you a score. That's terrible. I mean, would you like to be gauged, be given, sorry, Tyre, you're just a four, mate. Sorry.
Well, I've always known
Oh,
that. So That's not a surprise. That's why I've been happily married for 30 whatever it is years.
Yeah, I know,
Uh,
but do you see what I'm saying? I mean, and then how would you score? How would you score different age groups, for instance? Do you score them based on their attractiveness compared to younger people,
well,
or do
actually,
you?
what you do is that your matching scheme will take age groups into account. So you're not going to offer 40-year-old men 26-year-old girls or women,
Yeah, but
and vice
in
versa.
life, that also does happen.
Not on the dating app though that we're talking about. So one of the things is you're going to have to accept there are limitations in everything. One limitation says that 26-year-olds will go up to maybe 30, 4 years either way. So she'll be seeing 22-year-olds up to 30-year-olds. And I think in the end, that's probably a good thing for
So
everyone.
you're segregating the
Segregating.
groups.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. And then in
And
the hopes that when you actually meet and you're talking, because you're not being, you see, let me see if I can just come up with an ad hoc metaphor on the fly, which is kind of dangerous to try,
oh
but I'll
gosh.
try. But no, 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 no. You get a constant diet of hamburgers, and then all of a sudden you see one plate of steak, just delicious steak, everything that you've ever dreamed of. It's just a plate just goes past you, just very, very slowly. The waiters will. You just think, I would actually like one of one of those. And then you see another plate and another plate, another plate. And then eventually you're looking at a hamburger going, what the hell am I doing with this stupid hamburger? Right?
Good metaphor.
But if you see hamburgers, 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 and the only thing is an extra large hamburger, occasionally you'll be okay with your hamburger.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's actually going to force people off the platform because if you think about it, if
Yeah,
the
well, yeah,
platform
yeah, yeah, yeah. The
creates
roof.
all these restrictions,
Hmm.
granted, you've got a wider scope of which to play. You're now you're now thinking, well, should I go on the app? Yes, I've got a bigger scope, but I'm limited to,
You get more
people
success, Tony. You
five
get more
years.
success. So
You
people
have
will
more
come on.
success.
People will come on because they've heard that when you come on, you will find a lover, and you could most likely find someone that you're going to end up marrying within a year. So that becomes the standard. Go, what are you doing? Why are you wasting time? Go on this app and you'll find someone. And everybody's finding people, and the word just goes out. Yeah, that's how you find people now. The word it'll be
You
the
see,
only
what happened to the days of meeting up in physical locations? I mean,
well, you
people
can't
still
even
go
approach
out.
women now because women say we don't want men approaching them, and then when men have stopped approaching them, say no, we should be approaching us, and they don't know what the hell they want as usual. And it's dangerous because if you approach a woman who doesn't want to be approached by you just because it's you, what's she gonna say? And people are getting themselves into hot water over this. So men are just saying, I don't need the aggro, man. And it's we do it online. There's evidence. This is what I said. This is what you said, and yeah, finish. So for safety, just prefer to meet online. There's this younger generation. They really don't speak to women. They really don't speak to women face to face. And they're saying if a woman wants to talk to me, she has to come up to me. And women are saying that's not the natural role. We're not going to do that. And the men are shrugging, going, "Yeah, who cares?" So we just stick to the digital thing.
That is so sad. I shared somebody sent me something which was really, really powerful. So I chose to share it on my Facebook feed. And for the benefit of our listeners, obviously I can't show this. You know the three monkeys. You've got
Yeah.
see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil.
Mhm.
There's actually a fourth monkey that's emerged now, and that fourth monkey is seen holding a phone. And what
It's
he
all
has, now
three.
listen, what
Huh?
he has, he sees no one,
Yep.
he hears no one, and speaks to no one.
Mm.
So the fourth monkey has all the attributes of the other three monkeys rolled into
Excellent.
one, which is an interesting perspective because that is what's happening to the youth of today. They're not actually speaking to other human beings at
Yep.
their own age to interact in a social manner, in a dating manner because of this fear. But
Hmm.
something will happen in the background. They can't, someone will accuse them of something. So then now they're not doing it. They're using their phones. And
Well, there's an interesting pushback on that. I don't know how far it's got, but I know that governments, and I believe the UK government is one of them, I can't swear to that in a court of law, but I believe it is, that we're looking at banning smartphones until the age of X teens.
16,
Yeah, something like that. And I
I
think
had
that's
heard that.
just, in fact, not only smartphones, but I myself am pushing for no screens. No screens. So you got to talk to people. You can't have an iPad. You know these iPad mummies. Have you heard of that? You know, just
An
their kid.
iPad mummy. Go
An
on.
iPad mummy is a woman who just every time the kid says, just plonks an iPad in front of the kid. This kid is just much, a babyish kind of age. Definitely a toddler. So this toddler grows up with his iPad. Doesn't grow up with humans.
See, that's not good. That's lazy parenting.
Well,
Why are you having children if you can't then at least spend quality time with them? Look, okay. I don't want to be harsh on mums because they're doing a tough job as it is. But if sometimes the kids can't be appeased, and I get it that you'd want to put something like that in front of them, but you don't want to have it there all the time. It's not your crutch that you have to keep turning to. You need to be able to speak to your child and engage with them, etc., etc. And it's both parents. Don't just leave it to the woman, for instance. It does take a man's input too. So they have to share that. But yeah, it's an easy way out. I get it in the car, makes sense in the car because you don't want distraction when you're driving. I get that. But you can't just every time there's a challenge, plonk a device in
you can
front of them, which
challenge
seems
the
to be the
child,
norm.
in a car. You can challenge the car. You can challenge the child by giving them an AA map and say, "Where do I turn next?" And then
Or
you end up in Inverness. And what the hell are we doing in Inverness,
or
man?
or flag give them one of my Boris the Brick activity books.
Oh, here we go.
Yay. Might as well plug my own book there. Why not? Yes,
Yeah, every chance you
designed
get, pal.
specifically for that, for traveling. Kids can have them on their lap. They can color in the pictures, work out the puzzles, stimulates their mind,
I'm just going to
and
zone
don't
out here
disturb
whilst
mum and
you
dad.
just going to zone out whilst you flog your book again. Good grief. Actually, it's a series of books, isn't it?
Series of books, yes. The
Yeah.
Adventures of Boris the Brick on all
Oh,
good platforms. There you go.
I wasn't expecting that. Okay.
Right, okay, we're
Ah,
getting close to the top of the hour here, so we need to sort of get an idea as to what's this fix.
man,
I know you've spelled it out, but
my fix is that women in particular are prohibited from seeing men who are obviously more than one sexual market value step ahead of them. So they can see one sexual market value step ahead of them or less, but you can't see more than one.
hmm, do you not like the idea that I proposed regarding no pictures in
I
the
don't think that's
early
fair.
days?
I don't think that's fair. I think you could spend 6 weeks, 2 months, 3 months speaking to someone and then meet and just go, if I had
No, no,
seen
no,
this
no,
person
no.
before.
I'm not saying that length of time. No, no, no. But what you've got to have is you've got to be paired up with someone who at least has the same qualities that you're looking for. So, for instance, let's say I don't know, you're willing to be flexible on certain things, but certain parameters are deal breakers. So you say, I don't know, I'm I expect someone to be, I will cook and clean for them. If that's your point of view, you could put that down and say, that's what I expect to do, my role. But then I will do that for my partner, but then I expect the partner to do X, Y, Z here. Those are deal breakers if that's not met. So straight away, the algorithm within the platform can only link you with those traits because
Mm.
they're important to you. They're valuable. So there you go. You now have already you can't see anyone's profile unless they've got these particular preferences that you've spelled out because those are important to you. And that's the sort of thing. So you shouldn't be able to, well, I found this person and they tick all the boxes. They're a family person, they want to look after me, they blah, 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 all these qualities. You're like, wow, they're ticking all the boxes. Oh, hang on, that guy looks good. And you're distracted by the sweets in a candy store, that sort of thing. So initially you're only going to be paired up with a group of people who meet your requirements in terms of what you aspire to have in a relationship. Do you like going for walks, down in the forest, or do you like
But
to
I
sit in
would,
front of the
I would,
fireplace? Do you see what I mean?
I would, I would create a profile, and I can imagine I wouldn't be the only one to create a profile that goes, "Yeah, I'm pretty easy. Is she tall? Is she short? Is she's likes going for walks? If she doesn't like going for walks, if she likes coffee, she
So
doesn't
they're
like
not deal
coffee."
breakers then for you.
They're not deal breakers for me because I just want to get a leg over, pal. It's for me. I'm not gonna break anybody's. There are
You're
no
on
deal
the wrong
breakers.
platform.
That's what I'm trying to say. You can't do it like that, man. If people are just like, yeah, okay, and the women are going to be like, it's not a deal breaker for me if he's got money. It's not a deal breaker for me if he's got a house and a car and a good job. These are not deal breakers. And they say, well, what is a deal breaker? No, no, no. They're not going to come out and be honest. They'll say, I'm looking for somebody who's going to look after me and my kids, yada yada, blah blah blah. So
I
I
think
don't
that
think that I don't think that would work,
I
and
think there
it's not
has to
working.
be. I think there has to be some level of that as to actually put down before you even see anyone. What are you after? What sort of, are
Well,
they a
be honest. What are
non-smoker?
you?
Do they
I'm
want
after
children?
sex. This is what men are going to
Well,
say.
if you put that on, put it on. Then they'll
Yeah.
pair you up with people who actually are only
Well,
after
that's then
sex.
you're back to square one. However, if you do it my way, you never get that problem because the
Mm.
people who are after sex, they're going to meet people like themselves, and the people like themselves are eventually going to settle down with people who want more than that. Because a lot of men don't want just sex. That's the funny thing. A lot of men actually want a serious relationship. And give them an opportunity to meet the women, but prohibit the women from wasting their time with men who are going to use, abuse, and dump them.
But that's life generally. That happens even meeting people physically without being online. So,
Well, I think that's a certain point, but as soon as you start getting into the office situation, I mean, once at uni, you meet all sorts of people, but eventually life takes over and then the circle drops. I watched the video where the number of people you knew when you were in your teens was like that, hundreds or
huge.
whatever. And then as you go through life, you just get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And I think basically the same thing. So by the time you're in your early mid 20s, you really should have figured out pretty much who you are. And the app I'm proposing will help you to find someone so that by the time you're 26, you should be married to somebody that you genuinely like, not someone that you were attracted to because they're of their looks, which is a ridiculous metric, man. Because looks are mutable. I mean, they will
They
disappear
are.
over
They
a period of
change.
time.
They do. They do.
It's ridiculous.
See, looks get you there, personality keep you there. That's the difference. And it's the person, the characteristics, the
Mm.
attitude. That's what keeps you there. Looks are superficial. They fade. It does nothing. It just draws you there, but it shouldn't keep you there. So
I mean,
there you go.
I saw what's her name, Scarlett Johansson the other day. She was mooning about, oh yeah, Hollywood objectifies women. Everybody was piling on her and saying, "Well, you're crazy, man. You made billions out of your boobs being out and your looks and everything. Now because you're 40 and you look like you just hit the freaking wall, which she has. I was looking at this, she's hit the wall, man. You
I'm not
Scarlett
so sure.
Johansson. Sorry?
I'm not so sure. She's still nice to look at. Anyway, we've got to the end of the
I
show.
certainly wouldn't crawl over you to get to crawl over her to get to you. But that said, no, she's hit the wall.
Okay.
We should
If
do what
you've loved this,
we should do a show about who's hit the wall and who hasn't. That would be hilarious. So
we shall
sexist.
we
We
shall
told you.
see about that. That's terrible, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's funny.
If you've loved this episode, please hit subscribe and stay tuned for more deep dives into prophecies, mysteries, and the unexplained twists of fate. You've listened to Tony and Tyre, and we are the TNT Talk Show, but unfortunately, we have reached the end of the show for another week.